Before with that show.
And we're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. Glad that you're here. This is the best show on the interweb, talking about paragliding and paramotoring on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Oh, it's time. Let's share. Share with a friend. Want to encourage you. Share these videos because it's great information. Great information that might save someone's life or keep someone from chopping off limbs. This is a dangerous sport, and each week we come here to bring something to the table to help you to be a better pilot. Go check out some of the past episodes on paraglidingtalk.com. The website has all kinds of resources for you, and go dig through there every once in a while. Check out what's happening. Check out what's new. Maybe you want to catch an old episode. We are in episode 182 tonight. Can you believe that? All kinds of great things. So glad that you're here. If you're in the chat, glad that you're here. Don't be a lurking Larry. Make sure you say hi. Your name's getting written down. It's going inside the spinny wheel of Winnie things so that you can win stuff.
I'm collecting them all up.
Snatching up names like it was going out of style. If you notice a tool next to somebody's name in the chat, that's because they're amazing or they've done something amazing for the show. And so if you have questions, we consider those the moderators. Those are the people that are going to take care of you, take care of your needs.
Somebody.
This show is brought to you by PPG Zone. PPGZone.com is a paragliding forum. It is also a platform for pilots. You can be a free flight pilot like I am, or a motor pilot, and you can have your own social media platform designed by Josh Perry. Josh has done a great job with it, and it's just the beginning. Soon they're going to have a marketplace where you can trade and sell your gear. Go check out their website, ppgzone.com. Also, the show is brought to you by Midwest Parajet. Midwest Parajet helped me to get my motor, and I really appreciate those guys. And we're going to actually have them on the show as soon as it's not good weather and they can come on the show. The show is also brought to you by PBG Smoke. Ryan Roberts has created a masterpiece with all kinds of things that he added to the flying community. Floats, chase cams, lamels. He's even working right now as we speak on an electric paramotor. Can you believe that? Coming soon. So pay attention and stay tuned. PPGsmoke.com's the website. Also, the show is brought to you by paramotorprops.com. If you're looking to get a great deal on props, go to paramotorprops.com. Best deals on the interweb. It happens. You wreck a prop, you can reach out to them and they will get you taken care of. Para Orange Products is also a sponsor of the show. Larry and Chris have made all kinds of great things to protect your gear, including prop covers, weatherproof motor covers. You have some really great wind socks and poles and streamers, all kinds of great things. Get a gander at their website by going to paraorange.com or paraorangeproducts.com. We don't have a guest tonight because I was rejected 3 times. I invited 3 different special guests on. 3 special guests declined. After 3 disses, my sensitive insecurities and my self-esteem is damaged too far to ask another person. And therefore, we do what we want on paraglidingtalk.com. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. And we're going to talk about what you want to talk about. If you're in the chat, maybe you have something that you want to bring to the show right around the halfway mark. We're going to just open this thing up and talk about all kinds of things. We're also going to watch a few videos tonight. Hopefully it won't get a copyright strike for sharing other people's content, but we're going to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about forward launching. Let's get the sad news out of the way first. Local PPG spot for San Diego people. Sad story. We lost. I would consider it the spot here in Southern California. Gringo, don't cry, man. We're gonna work it through. We're gonna get this thing fixed. Anyways, a local person has been complaining about noise. He cited park regulations and noise complaint violation and the city adhered to his complaints and put up a sign literally that says no paramotoring. He had to do some research, figure out what paramotoring means. I bet you the first sign said something like no backpack aircraft, but he literally convinced the city to put up this code or this sign, City of San Diego logo and everything. So this is legit. I don't necessarily want to start any stuff, but I did want to mention that if you wanted to fly and maybe you didn't know about the ordinance, plausible deniability, we were talking about what are the repercussions for flying anyway. And David Wolf just said we also lost a main spot out in Cincinnati. Yeah, we're just gonna have a little tiny funeral for that spot. It is the coolest spot. It's right I don't want to tell anybody where it's at because we're probably still gonna fly from there or nearby there. Anyways, premier spot. You can go fly the beach from there within about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. And then you can fly back and place to park your cars. Oh man.
So yeah, we thought it was a fake sign at first, but we have a local guy. He's a San Diego police officer, and he was able to make a couple calls and a couple connections, but to find out the legitimacy of it. And, you know, we thought a couple of reasons we thought it was fake. It was posted to some light posts, which is uncommon and so forth. This guy that made the complaint, he's been complaining for a long time. In fact, some of the guys that would park there with a carrier on the back of their car, they would get some sort of car damage, pop tires and so forth. But anyway, yeah, we thought it was fake. So we were going to go down, and since we thought it was fake, we were going to put some fake pilots stickers on the sign and just riddle it. So thought this would be a little plug for maybe PPG Smoke still has some stickers left over. We're going to need a lot of them. Anyway.
I've got a whole bunch of them, by the way. I've got this is Paramotor NC. You guys know him? He sent me this really nice phone holder. I got this one.
I met him
You
at
guys know these
Palm
guys?
Bay.
Got one of
Yeah,
these.
I
We'll
know
stick on
those
there.
guys. They live in Ohio.
It's got a link to his website too, so
Yeah.
we'll get some hate mail if we put those on there. I got a big AMSOIL sticker we could put on there. By the way, I'm an AMSOIL dealer still. If you guys
And
want to buy some AMSOIL.
that's another thing too. You know, when these signs start popping up, I certainly hope that it does not become like some kind of fad or something where people are like, oh, I like your sign. That's pretty cool. I want one too. And the next thing you know, there's signs popping up everywhere like that. You know, I mean, that's one thing that we really don't need in the sport. And it seems like we're losing a lot of LZs all over the place. It's not just one place. It's not just one area. It's all over.
I was talking to a local pilot that as soon as he landed, he gets interrupted by the police as he's packing up his stuff. And you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to fly. You're not allowed to have fun. Is this fun? Yeah. Nope. Can't have that. Not allowed to have that. Not allowed to do this. Not allowed to do that. Here's a ticket. And he gave him a ticket. And so now he has to go to court. It's like a traffic ticket. It's comparable to traffic ticket. Goes to court, and the judge, I guess, just instantly dismissed. And I'm not sure exactly why, but I've heard this on multiple accounts where they dismiss. I'm not telling you to go and challenge that, but just we have a mentality that we succumb to every rule, and we just instantly have to bow down. So if somebody makes a rule, that's it, game over. So I feel like we're slipping into a dangerous place that if anybody breathes a complaint that all of a sudden now we have to make a blanket rule and we have to, there's no back and forth. There's no conversation about it. No one gets to vote. Nobody gets to have an opinion. It's just like this guy gets mad because he's watering his garden and he hears these loud flying airplane, these backpack lawnmower men. My wife is trolling me in the chat.
So
fix it.
So David Wolf and I saw Yankee mentioning it too. So Red Stewart Airfield, update to airport operations. Effective immediately, we are asking for all paramotor operations to cease at Red Stewart Airfield. This is due to interference with student pilot and skydiving operations, because apparently we don't count. Complaints from our airport tenants and general disrespect for our neighbors. We will not allow for reckless behavior. Thank you for your cooperation.
Where's this come from?
This David Wolf sent it to me, and I guess it's I don't know if it's on Facebook. Looks like it might be on Facebook. Airfield. I asked if he wanted to share it, but he said no. He's naked. He sent me a picture. I don't want to show, but
yeah, just don't show that.
Yeah, no, it's just as you need to manscape a little bit there, Chief. Just kidding. All right, so yeah, I don't know if it doesn't. It's not just San Diego, or it's not just California. California, we got a lot more restrictions. I think obviously it's near, the closer you are to the city, the more congestion. But you see some videos being put out where guys are flying and it's just farmland. I mean, I get it. That one lady that came out was yelling at somebody about a year ago, flying over her horses or something like that, and he showed his GPS. He wasn't even near it. So who knows? They're gonna complain. They're gonna be Karens and Kens out there, and not everybody's happy.
So basically, when you guys go to fly, what it is the rule is no beans and weenies the day before, and don't fart downwind.
I just don't understand how it is that we are a society that if someone says, I don't like that for whatever reason, and I get it, if there's a valid reason, you're going to, someone could be killed or, you're crop dusting, some kind of a poison in the air and you're not, I get it. We need to have regulation, but people have been flying from this spot since the beginning of time. I'm talking literally man-made aircrafts have been flying man-made hang gliders, ultralight, all kinds of stuff have flown from this little hill. And now all of a sudden, because of one noisy resident, we can't, freedom just ceases to exist. I have a problem with that. There needs to be a back and forth. There needs to be a conversation. Are we a constitutional republic? Are we a democratic republic? Can we have a vote? Can we talk about? Nope. Just put up a sign. Well, I want to put up a sign that says no nosy neighbors. Nosy neighbors are banned. Complaining neighbors are banned.
Have you guys tried pie?
Let's put up a sign that says no
like a bunch
complaining.
Of pies and just delivering them like from your local paragliding guys. Have a pie on us. I mean, how can you not like pie?
Ryan Moore said, how many decibels does it take to break the noise ordinance?
So it's interesting because I didn't think you were going to get to that quick.
It's 10 feet. It's 65 dB from 10 feet after 7 p.m. So
here's a comment from some of the discussion about the looking into it. So this is from one of our guys that's a police officer that flies. Okay, I just got off the phone with the head district park manager. He said they did take all the carpet down and put the signs up. Apparently, they have gotten a lot of complaints from residents. The spot is not in open space, and it is still part of the park, as there have been a development plans for years, according to him. The rangers can enforce it along with the PD. It looks like they can cite the noise ordinance if it can be heard over 10 feet at 65 decibel and more than 55 decibel after 7 p.m. because it's a park. Also, they can cite violation of signs as a catch. Also, there is a code for being off a designated trail that disturbs shrubbery, plants, dirt, and rocks. I'm guessing PD will only enforce on complaints, as no cop wants to get out of his car and walk that far.
Yep.
These are municipal codes and can cite it as infractions like a traffic ticket that go to traffic court, or they have the option of citing it as a misdemeanor that would go to downtown court. So.
By the way, I want to mention a sponsor, American Allied Drains and Plumbing. If you're in the San Diego area and you are in need of plumbing, American Allied Drains and Plumbing is your company. If you mention Paragliding Talk, you will get a 10% discount on your services. If you want to get a hold of them, their phone number is 844-777-9055. I do want to give you an update. I used their services and they knocked it out of the park. It was when I had COVID too. Yeah. William Rice asked about buying some Amsoil. Reach out to me through the contact page on my website, paraglidingtalk.com. Just put in the contact what it is that you're interested in getting pricing for, and I'll get you a quote. Yeah. So I know it's sad. It's one of those things. We the places to launch from are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I want to just say this. I don't associate this shutdown with negligence on the part of paramotor pilots. I really don't, because we don't, every time that I've seen pilots flying from there, they don't hang around. They don't just keep on buzzing the LZ. If anybody buzzed the LZ, I did like 15 times one day, just repping out launches and landings when I first learned. But no guy came to complain. Nobody said anything. And I never heard anything about him. Maybe that day he was out of town, or maybe he didn't live there yet. Or I say maybe it's a Karen. I'm assuming it's a he, who knows? But nevertheless, I don't think this was a negligence thing. There are many, and I've had plenty of shows where we talked about this, but I wanted to let everyone know that this hit home. This is close. This is what a bummer, man.
And there's another point too, is so in San Diego, we know of, there's 18, 22 or so pilots, local pilots, but every now and again, we do get an outsider, whether they're from out of state, and for the most part, they contact us. You see them on the chats, you know them in the groups and so forth. But there are a couple new guys too, I think, in San Diego that they don't reach out. So not that they have to, but it's nice I think we're big enough to where, people know each other and so forth. So if there are new guys, I would encourage them to reach out to some of the local pilots been around for a while and at least find out what the inside scoop is, for the area and so forth. So,
What I have heard is that typically the phone call goes to Steve Rohrbaugh, who is in charge of the San Diego Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association. He could care less about paramotoring. So if there was a city meeting or some kind of an ordinance meeting that they voted on this and said, hey, let's make a rule, who's in favor, it was all, very quiet. And if anyone would have been contacted, it would have been him. And he wouldn't care if that got, as a matter of fact, I think he would be against paramotoring anywhere near that site. So sad story, but let's shift gears. Sorry about the funeral on that spot, but it is what it is. Let's learn from it and try to not get others shut down. Let's talk about forward launching. And I want to mention the dangers of forward launching. I didn't realize until about a month ago how dangerous forward launching can be with very light wind. And I've got a video. I asked Sean to pull up some videos. And
do you notice the majority of the problems that people have typically is when it's extremely light winds. You know, when it's
Mhm.
light winds, usually it's variable, it's switchy, typically, depending on, the environment where you're at. But most generally, when it's really, really light, it will switch. You will notice it'll flip flop on you.
Yep. So I've got a video I asked Sean to pull up, and I've got it here on deck. Let me just go to my screen sharing here. Make that full screen. There we go. Now we're cooking with Crisco. Oh, I didn't edit the sound. I better just mute that because we don't need to hear it anyways. There we
I don't believe
go.
there was any music in those.
Okay, I'll just mute it anyways.
Yeah.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. All right, so
Is it-
this is obviously a paragliding pilot. He's a free flight pilot.
I don't know.
Yeah, look how forward he's leaning.
Look at him leaning.
It's very obvious. This happens all the
And he
time
sat down.
with guys. Yep.
I want to
It
It
mention right
happens
here.
all the time.
That's your problem right there.
That's your prop.
Look at how
room.
beautifully wide open and flat it is.
That's got to be Arizona. That looks like that might be
Holy-
Motown.
So beautiful. Oh, look at that.
So I do want to mention right here, paramotorprops.com for this guy. I think his name is Frank.
Yeah.
Paramotor
Sure,
props,
give me
because
one.
that prop got drilled down to like about maybe 5 inches. Oh, okay. So a couple things that I want to note here. And thank you, Frank, for letting us analyze this. This happens too often. Okay, so first things first, and Sean mentioned this ahead of the show, and I'm just going to steal his thunder. Putting yourself under power when your wing's too far back is going to create a scenario for you. And it's happened to me. I'm sure that it's happened to some of the best of us in the beginning, but you have to learn how to feel your wing and know where it's at without actually looking at it even. You'll get to the place where you can feel your wing. I'm still at the place where I can't really feel my wing with my motor because normally I feel it in my seat when I'm free flying, and my wing communicates very nicely in my hips. But with motor, it's a different language, so I'm still learning. But here we can see that he hits the power, and the wing is kind of shot forward for just a second.
And
You
look
see
at
it.
his posture. Look at his,
Yep.
rewind it just a little bit there, Robert.
Yep. Let's see if it'll.
Just, a little bit further than that, a lot further, actually. You can go about an inch and a half. Okay, another 2 inches. There we go. When
Yeah.
it go back to where he starts to move forward, you will notice his body position, and then notice his prop is spinning before he has control of that glider.
I mean, there's just numbers of issues with this, right? So he feels the wing right here for a second. It felt like it was lifty, and he's like, okay, full power, hits the power, but not really.
Well,
You
he
got the
pulled his
wings
landing
surging.
gear up right here.
Yep, the wings surged back just a touch right there.
Mhm.
And he, in his mind, this moment right here felt like he was coming off the ground, but it wasn't. It was just the
pendulum surge. The pendulum swing.
exactly. Thank you. It surged back. He felt that little tiny bit of lift, and game over. Okay, so a couple things.
And that's another thing too. With something like this, that is very often the case. People give throttle, let throttle off, give throttle, let throttle off, give throttle.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving and letting off, giving and letting off, giving and letting off. Next thing you know, that wing's starting to do that pendulum thing.
Okay, I'm glad we listened to the sound on that for a second, because he didn't let off the throttle when he crashed.
No, this guy did not. But generally when people are pulling the wing up hastily and they're in a hurry, generally that's what happens. Is a lot of times they give throttle, they don't have control of the wing. They think they don't have control of the wing. They let off the throttle. Then they got control of the wing, they feel, and then they give throttle again. And then it's just a circular spiral.
I want to say thank you to the cameraman for two things. One, for filming, not in portrait mode. And also
Android user.
I want to also compliment the fact that he kept his posture, kept the eye on the prize, and even zoomed in at the end for
Kept the guy in frame.
theatrics.
You know, you could tell too by
Yeah.
the amount of people around. Obviously, I'm thinking he's still getting instruction. You know what I mean? So this is in the very beginning stages of his flying career, kind of thing.
Yep.
So these mistakes are going to happen, obviously.
Yes, this isn't to be poking fun at this guy that's
not at
trying to
all.
take off. This is strictly for informational purposes and knowledge and sharing information with the sport.
And one of the key things too, obviously, you were talking about thrust and throttle. Look, watch the exhaust right there. So he hit the throttle as he's hitting the ground.
Let's listen to the
ground,
sound.
so-
Let's watch it one more time with sound.
You know what I
Here we go.
mean?
He very well did let on and let off right there.
Yep, sure did.
Twice. There was 2 times. Right there. Right there.
No, he
Yeah,
did.
one of the things I see, like free flight guys come to motors is like you've mentioned it before, right? Free flight guys like the torpedo takeoff.
Yep.
They don't realize, they forget that they have this powerful machine on their back that is their thrust. And if they can control the thrust on their first 10, 15 steps or whatever they're taking, to allow that, using that motor to push them along. You see it, Tucker does it, obviously great posture, standing straight up. You're allowing that thing to push you into the air. It's really literally it's like someone coming from behind you to push you. So you don't have to run. You don't have to try and run to get into the air. That motor will push you into the air.
Uh-oh.
So
Well, and that's another
Craig
thing too.
Taylor.
I have seen where some people have tried to do forward launching, but they'll stick their hands out front with their A's, or the habit of running with your brakes like this. Not a good idea, guys. Don't run with your brakes like this, because that's just jostling your wing all over the place while you're trying to launch. It's just not a handy thing.
What? Matthew S? Hold on
Yeah.
a second. What did he donated $10 to the super chat. Said this is the only show on YouTube I clear my schedule to tune in and watch. Robert Michaels is my Alex Trebek of internet hobby aviation broadcasting. Matthew S, that's why we're friends. Thank you for that wonderful comment and the contribution to the show. You're amazing.
Thank you for your support and viewership. You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot to be said for that. The shows like
Matthew
this
S.
wouldn't be on if it wasn't for guys like you tuning
That's
in,
right.
wanting to learn. You know.
yeah, because I'd be flying, absorbing my selfish ambitions. Literally right now.
628.
Beautiful. 628. Let's spin the wheel.
That's a good
Sponsors.
idea. Yeah, sponsors first there, Robert. Go ahead and
Yeah,
whip out
this
some sponsors
the
there.
spin of this wheel, by the way, is brought to you by Nebraska PPG. Josh Bowden runs a school in Nebraska, and if you're interested in getting some top-notch training, you sign up with Josh and his team today. There's a link in the description. Don't wait. You can sign up right away because time is ticking. Otherwise, maybe you can just sign up for next year. But you should sign up. Also, the show is brought to you by iFly Indiana Powered Paragliding. If you're interested in flying paramotors, no better place to get proper training than iflyindiana.com. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground. That's iflyindiana.com.
All right. And the spin of this wheel is brought to you by Calamity Kite Clinic.
Oh, yeah.
The flying coming up. Dave Purdon's flying in Ohio, West Portsmouth. If you're going to be there, feel free to reach out to me on the website. Check out what I have to offer, because I'm sure I could help a lot of people with their ground handling game. Get them good at being comfortable on that ground with the glider above you. So here we go. Y'all ready for a spin?
We are.
We're spinning.
Oh,
Look at these,
oh.
all these wonderful people, and go. Oh,
Sean, did you get Ray Pierce at the last moment?
I don't think I did. If he wasn't in until I went to spin. Did he just pop in when I spun the wheel?
Maybe about a minute before, I think, but not. That's all right. He's
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's already going now. I mean, I worked so hard to fill this bad boy up. I tried to get every single person that was in there from like 8:30.
Oh, we're giving away some Amsoil, by the way. Hey,
Amsoil.
Geriatric PPG donated $10 to the super chat. Thank you, Geriatric PPG. You're amazing.
Oh, look, here comes Mike S.
I almost won.
Oh,
What?
Mike.
That was so
Oh,
close.
JR, I bet you. Oh, I don't know. Maybe
Close.
perhaps Bill H.
It's gonna be right on the line.
It's going to be
Who's it
close.
coming?
Oh, I think it's Bill H. Yeah, that's Bill H. Congratulations, Bill H.
Winner, chicken dinner. Congratulations, Bill H. Hey, if you want to reach out to me on the website, paraglidingtalk.com, contact, tell me your information, and I will send you out some Amsoil Saber. Oh, yeah, good stuff. We still have to do a show on the different oils. That's what we should have done tonight. Let's do some let's watch a little free flight video, shall we? I know Ripman Riding was interested in some free flight stuff, and I love free flight. Free flying to me is I mean, it's the closest thing to being a bird. And everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody. People are fascinated with flying. They think they're birds. Craig Taylor, by the way, I watched the video. That was horrifying. I hope that she's okay, and my prayers go out to her. My word. Let me know if we can help in any way. And it sounds like you guys are at the ER right now. So what a bummer, man. Hope she's doing okay. Eesh. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. Let me pull up this video here. Stay
I thought it was kind of funny back on that last video. Mike S made a comment. He said something along the line of the biggest contributing factor to a wipeout is all the cameras and all the people watching you take off.
Oh yeah,
you definitely feel the pressure.
Oh
well,
yeah,
that's another thing too. If you're used to flying alone and you go to a fly-in, it can be somewhat nerve-wracking when you've got a lot of people around you, a lot of things going on, conversations. Absolutely, it's easy to get distracted.
I'm going to give you a little sound for just a second here. A lot of wind noise.
When was this?
So check this out. So he's dillying around in his bag. He's probably trying to get a snack, but he hits a thermal. So you can hear the beep 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 beep, and so he's in it right now. But I have a feeling that our friend is very green, and you'll see why.
About a collapse, I feel.
He's got his hands off the wheel.
No, he put his hands up.
Okay.
Note real quick right here. Something I want to just.
His wrist is inside the loop.
So why is that bad, Paragringo?
Because you get tangled up, you can't reach for your reserve.
We call it handcuffed. Yeah. 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 So watch what happens here. Yeah, don't wrap your hands around there unless you're okay with being handcuffed in the air. Here we go. Especially with those big puffy gloves.
Sounds like somebody trying to learn how to play the harmonica.
Yeah. So now, if you look, he's meandering backwards. Okay. So let me just rewind this. Here's the thermal. He's dilling around. Okay. Thermal. We'll go back to the dilling around. Dilling around. Hands off. And by the way, when you're free flying, you're always going to find a thermal when you go dilling around looking for a snack or something. Okay, so now he leans back. He's going to make a right-hand turn to go in back for that lift because you don't have a motor. You have to use whatever you can get. He makes his left-hand turn. Now that thermal is probably stronger than he realized, and he was just flying over the edge. And now he's going to hit the core and fall right out of it. Shoot! Glider falls in front of him. Note that he is under extreme G forces right here because the wing was out in front of him.
Now the left side was somewhat collapsed. Wouldn't
Yeah.
that have helped to have given right weight shift and a little bit of right brake to at least get that to reinflate?
Yep.
He pulled on the left hand side where it was already collapsed, so he is going to drop out of the sky.
Yep. Wrong inputs, right? So
Yeah.
let's rewind it for just a second. By the way, this person has no idea that we're reviewing his video. I didn't
But I
ask for
love it.
permission,
It's good content. I mean,
but this is great content.
This
I mean,
is
he
great
posted
content
it
for
out there,
learning.
right? So he's willing to accept criticism, I'm sure, and obviously it's all for the best. So.
You know what? We'll put links in the description.
You need to
so
send him some oil. If you send him
By
some
no
oil,
means.
he'll get a motor.
Oh,
And by no means is this criticism at all
Yeah.
about these pilots' capabilities, because I'm sure that they have improved since that point
Yeah.
whenever they posted this. But the fact that
Yeah.
it's out there to let us learn and grow from it and understand, okay, what I see right here, what's going on? Well, let's see here. The right
Yeah.
side is inflated, the left side is not. That means give right side weight shift, give a little bit of right side brake, so that way, and check the wing, but don't go into a stall, yeah, this, and now it's spiraling.
Yeah, something about wrong inputs here, right? So
Yeah.
also take a quick note, holding on to the risers. That's a clear indicator that you're trying to grasp for things. You're trying to reach for things that right here, see his right hand? Watch it grab a hold of the riser. Hands off. Now he's throwing the reserve. Okay, so right here, got brake toggle just flying in the wind. He's throwing the reserve. Now we'll watch it again from here. Sorry to keep rewinding it, but I want you to just get the hold. Just, I'm going to let it rip here. Let's put the sound on one more time. Collapse right about here. Beep, 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 beep. Edge of the thermal. Left side of his wing goes away. Wings shoots in front of him. Right here. Okay, now he's feeling some G's right here. Now he's feeling a lot of G's. And he's like, oh, what the heck? Grabs the riser, throw the reserve. Now he's getting whipped around. Okay, he does a couple good things right here. Okay, now he is pulling on the rear risers to kind of kill that down plane, because when your wing is out in front of you, the down plane is going to make you fly quickly towards the ground. And Dave Wool said, would you have thrown? No, not at all. Right today, or when I was brand new. Yeah, no, I would not have. Right here. Now, remember, he's under reserve, so his wing's doing some funny business. He's going to try to reel it in. Very smart. Reel it in. Get whatever you can. And each of these lines has got some pressure on there. Quite a bit of pressure. You see his phone dangling. That would have been his phone disappearing, by the way. You see it on the tether.
Yep. Bye, Samsung.
Smart move to have it on the tether. And here we go. Now watch how fast he comes into the ground.
Yeah, he's coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
Size reserve he had.
Oh.
Wow, look at that.
So, a couple reasons why it was coming in so hot. Probably a small reserve. He's probably a lightweight guy. He's in Europe.
Yeah, but he's probably got some good wind. So
That's the same reserve I have, I think. So he's probably freaked out, glad to be alive. Okay. So, yeah, a couple things to note. He could have probably corrected this without hitting the deck, and could have continued flying on and would have learned a little lesson, but his skill set wasn't there. So all good. He did the right thing. He threw his reserve. He was G'd up for a second there, and he said, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do what I know to do that will get me out of this situation. He was fortunate where he landed. He didn't end up in a tree. Probably could have repacked his glider and relaunched from that spot. Just guessing. I don't know if he did that or not. We can maybe ask him in the comments. I'm going to leave a link to this video in the chat if you want to analyze it yourself. Not in the chat, but in the description. It all happens fast. This has happened to me. And I did the same thing with wrong inputs. You have this feeling that your glider that you're used to. And when you're G'd up, the inputs are magnified. So it's kind of like driving a sports car. It's different when you're rolling at like 15 miles an hour through a parking lot than, going 60 miles an hour. If you pull on the steering wheel going 60 miles an hour, you're going to have a lot different reaction than when you're 15 in the parking lot at Home Depot. Same thing with the glider. When it's loaded up, you give a sharp, right input, and you're in a face down spiral, you're going to get a pretty dramatic reaction. And the scary thing is that when you don't manage that energy properly, you're going to probably throw that wing into a position where you're going to get tacoed. You're going to go into the wing. And that almost happened to me. And more than just wrong inputs, it was a wrong mindset. I was flying on a day that I shouldn't have been flying. By the way, I just noticed something that I didn't notice before. Take a look at the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that you want to speculate on these clouds?
This is a different area from where I'm accustomed to in Ohio.
Yeah, that's got to be in the Alps.
But yeah, that's
So here's my
a lot of blue where he's at. A lot of clear blue.
Yeah, we don't get to really see any much clouds above him, but we know that there was some. It was an unstable day because we've got clouds, and it was probably some
Looks like high pressure.
Deep. No, not high pressure. It looks like a decent day, maybe a good lapse rate. We'll say there was probably some good thermals. But here's what I wanted to note. If you look, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but you can see how these clouds are being pushed from left to right. Does that make sense? The wind direction at the top of this lift is actually going this way. Now, I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I didn't notice that before. It looks like that would be the wind direction. If that is the case, then he's kind of flying lee side to this mountain.
Yeah.
But I guess that gets kind of thrown out the window because the wind drift is actually going to throw him to the mountain right here. So I guess the wind, that kind of.
I guess that would be kind of optimal for the spicy conditions, though, where he's at on the lee side of a hill and the heat rising up from the sun on the opposite side of the hill. Yeah.
Good point. If the top of lift is blowing 10 miles an hour one direction and the area that he's flying in is wind coming up the face, you'll probably get some turbulence, some weird stuff. And that's exactly what he got. So, okay, glider, reach for the reserve very quickly. Seemed like he had about, I would say, 800 or so feet. And he lost quite a bit of altitude just right there. Now he's under reserve. Let's try to sort this thing. I'm guessing based on his instincts to pull that in that he'd probably done at least an SIV. And note right here also, he probably did a big gulp of fear because there's power lines directly underneath him right here. If you look really close, there's a post right here and a post right here, post right here.
That road. Yep.
Right along the road. So right here, he was probably like, oh no, because it looked like he was heading straight for it. But good gust of wind, little drift, and he's going towards the hill. Shoo. Okay.
Don't hit the rock.
He didn't do much for the PLF, parachutal landfall. If you don't know what that is, bend your knees a little bit, put your feet together, And somebody taught me that keep your hands in close to your body when you land. A lot of guys will hurt their arms on a hard landing. You don't realize
Great
that, but if your
Chris.
arms are out, you're trying to balance. You're like, oh yeah, I'm out here trying to balance. And then when you hit, your hands slap down against your sides, or your shoulders maybe come out of place. So not only do you rattle your knees and legs and your back, but also now your arms are jacked up. So keep your hands in, and that'll spare you some pain. We learn all kinds of stuff here at paraglidingtalk.com. So this guy, his name is Lolo Riva. And I appreciate him posting that. Hope he doesn't mind that we shared it. It's got a lot of views, 16,274 views. And he posted it in 2017. But I feel like we can all learn from that. So thank you for sharing that. Did have one more video. Take me a minute to pull it up here. So let's talk a little bit about lines and the quality of your lines. Real quick, want to mention two sponsors. Shows brought to you by Lone Star Paramotor. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, reach out to Ron Turan and his team for world-class training. The website is lonestarparamotor.com. Also, the show is brought to you by Torrey Pines Glider Port. If you want to learn how to free fly in the most beautiful place in the United States, reach out to Max Marion or any one of the guys at Torrey Pines Glider Port at flytorrey.com. The website is flytorrey.com. Great place to fly. The strength of lines is ridiculous. One line in certain lines can hold to up to 300 and 400 pounds, just one of those. So you imagine hanging something 300 pounds from one of these lines. Obviously that's a stagnant weight or something that is not moving around and jumping around, but nevertheless, 300 pounds, that's an incredible feat. The fact that they would have that. So having that said, those lines are incredibly strong. I've watched multiple people getting injured because their lines are pulling their hand into the prop. And we mentioned in the beginning, we were talking about launching into light wind and forward launching a paramotor. I also want to mention in free flight, this can become something. So we're crossing cross contamination here with free flying and the sort, free flying and paramotor. So the lines have the ability, and I think I mentioned this in the last episode, we talked about hand injuries. The lines went over the back of my paramotor and went into the prop, yanked the prop and bent my hoop, which is titanium, bent the hoop in like this. And I didn't even notice until after I was sorting my stuff. I got my line out, a little of my sheathing was torn a little bit. And I'm like, what a bummer, man. I still want to fly, still want to do what I can do. And anyways, the situation escalated when Gringo says, oh my gosh, look at your frame is bent. And I was like, wait, what? And sure enough, I looked, the hoop is bent, and I was able to bang it back just with my hand and get it back in a normal position. But I thought, how in the world did that happen? I didn't fall on my head. It was the lines. That's how strong those lines are. They just went over the hoop. At first, it didn't make sense to me, but now it absolutely makes sense. So the idea that line grab into your paramotor can put this strain on the hoop, also can cut into your digits and cause your hand to go somewhere where you don't want it to go, and then maybe pin it there. I've seen a couple times where catastrophes happen, and it all happens in a blink, and you have these guys that are mangled up on the ground with their motor and lines involved. So then we're talking about water and things like that. You're not just going to break yourself out of lines. So moral of the story is you should, two things, make sure that you're paying attention to what your lines look like before you launch. Don't let your slack line when you're launching end up in your prop. And also consider that as that prop goes by, it's going to want to grab whatever it can. This is where kiting is critical. If you learn to kite your wing well, you're going to avoid these things. You'll be able to feel slack lines and kill your motor quickly. Something you should practice on a regular basis is killing your motor, having your knee-jerk reaction is to kill it, because that's going to save you props. It's going to save you potentially hurting yourself. And nobody likes to blow up a prop. I mean, maybe there's somebody, but
and before we jump off of the lines, Robert, something else to be mentioned. I've seen videos where lines have busted and snapped mid-flight, and that can be a terrifying situation as well, depending on the wing and if you have a reserve or not. And that's where it is really important to be able to inspect your lines, inspect your glider, make sure that it's okay before you go taking off anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause it does happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've numbers of times, and I've done it myself. You break a line and you tie a knot in that line. If it's on the cascade and not the front of your glider, get away with it. If it's a brake line or one of your brake cascades, you can tie a knot. Don't let it live there. I've even seen guys use their B risers if they snap a line on the B and go back and fix that by just tying a knot. I don't recommend it, but I want to talk about that real quick before we wrap up the show. Tying a knot in your glider can affect your glider in a dramatic enough way that you could put yourself in a weird predicament. I'll tell you what happens. You tie a knot and you deform let's say you deform the wing in the middle, in the center on your B risers. Let's say one line, and now you've got this deformation. Now, what happens to the rest of the lines is now you think I've only tied a knot in one of my many, many, many lines. The reality is that now you've deformed your glider and you're affecting this cascade, and the rest of your airfoil now is changed. And the only way that you can actually fly is because of what's happening under the circumstance of a perfect airfoil. So choose wisely when you decide you're going to tie a knot and just press on, especially the free flight guys. This happens a lot. Not so much on the brakes. It's not that big of a deal because you can deform the brakes, but even then you're going to affect your performance a little bit. And within a half an inch will affect your the quality of your flying. And some guys even will get down to a 1/16 of an inch that they're trimming their glider to make sure that it's within this, this spec. It's amazing to me that we're flying these, canopies, if you will, just.
Something that was mentioned in the kiting world that I think applies as well is usually when you break a kite line, they say when you tie it back together, the weakest link in that entire line is just past that knot, right where the knot connects to the line. That's where that weak spot of that line is going to be. And I don't know if that applies in paragliding, but I think it kind of does, because it's sail, just like a kite sail, and the lines again play a big role in the way that sail collects air and does its thing.
Hot Buttered Steve donated $10 to Super Chat. He said, I thought this was an open topic and I was hoping to talk about naval lint collecting.
They do that on the our Paramotor Nation. So it'll be covered on Sunday.
It's already taken. Oh, that was going to be one of my top topics. Oh.
Go check them out on Sunday for
Man,
limb collecting.
that was quick.
That's all right. We love those guys at Paramotor Nation too. They're good folks and they cover good
That's
topics
right.
as well.
That's just to see if
He's in the chat right now.
if
David's in the
David's
chat.
still in the chat.
Oh,
or if he
yeah.
went to go and eat.
Yeah.
He was sitting there naked watching the show. So who knows?
So Jeremy mentioned in the chat, he said, talk about friction knots. I had one in a flight and couldn't pump it out with the brakes. I've seen them on other gliders, something to look for when you get in your seat. Really good point. I watched a guy do about a 15-minute flight in the most horrific looking airfoil. So his glider normally would have been here. It was pulled in like he was flying the McDonald's emblem. It was horrid. And we're on radio and we're like, hey, you gotta pressure knot. We're yelling and he doesn't have a radio on. We're like, pressure knot. And this pilot isn't necessarily one of the greatest pilots. Obviously launched off with a pressure knot. But yeah, anyways, he keeps on hitting thermals. He's getting bumped up and his glider must have felt like just a bag of garbage. And he's just, oh my gosh, all over the place. So at one point I flew out to him to yell at him, go land, you've got a pressure knot. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And he went and he was able to land it. He stayed on his feet. He figured it out. But he didn't, literally flew for 15 minutes. He didn't know. So have a wherewithal that look at your glider, know what your glider should look like from underneath when you're flying along. Take a look at your lines, take a look at and I would argue that this can happen in a millisecond before you launch. Just take a glance at all your lines. When you're building your wall, look for deformities in your lines when you're pulling your stuff up. So
do that before you even go to take off, before you even hook in, check your lines, check your glider for any damages. Make sure that it's okay before you even clip in, because after you've clipped in, you're in a dangerous spot, a dangerous position.
Yep.
If you're not clipped in, you can always let go of those lines and it's okay, because guess what? Gliders are going to come down. No big deal.
Yep. Pay attention to your wings loading when you first get in. One of the things I like to do is wait for a cycle. You're a free flight pilot. Waiting for a cycle means that you're waiting for a column of rising air to come and give you an inviting lift into the air rather than you running off and trying to force yourself into something. There's a lot of times where I'll just stand. Yeah, I'll be standing there just kiting my wing and feeling it. And in just a moment, I can feel if there's something wrong with my glider. I'll pull my glider up and I don't really even look. I just kind of turn around and I'll be kiting. Sometimes while I'm kiting, I'll take a collapse because the glider's not loaded and it'll cravat and feel weird. And I'll be standing there and I can feel it and I can hear it. And so I'll just pump it out without even looking up. And this all happens with time. You kite your glider enough and you can hear it and you can feel the feedback. So yeah, it's a important thing to pre-flight motors. It's also important to pre-flight your and do a good thorough check of all your stuff in free flight. Motoring, I feel like there's a little more that you got to check, but nevertheless, free flight has just as important. By the way, this show's brought to you by Resurgence PPG. If you're interested in supporting our men and women of uniform, you can make a tax-deductible donation to resurgenceppg.com. By donating, you're sponsoring those who have put their lives on the line for your freedom. Reach out to Todd Scandrett at resurgenceppg.com. And like I said, this is tax-deductible donation, 501c3. It's all legit. And you'll be glad that you did when you see what he's doing for these guys. It's absolutely amazing. So set some money apart, don't be stingy, reach out and help however you can. Also, you can help by choosing on Amazon Smile. A portion of your contribution will go to them. And you just have to go into the settings of Amazon Smile and choose your charity, and it'll give you a list of charities that it thinks that you should give to, and then it'll say other, and then you can type in Resurgence PPG, and then you can give to them. Or you don't give anything. It's just when you buy something, a portion of the proceeds will go to Amazon Smile to Resurgence PPG. That's it. We're 7 o'clock mark. We're gonna go to the after show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you, all the super chatters. Thank you, Patreon supporters. Really appreciate that you keep the show going. And also those who support the show on PayPal. You guys are awesome. We will see you on the next one. Paraglidingtalk.com. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you, what you put for the show. Nick Fazekas, thank you. Anthony Peregringo, all the moderators and the moderation in the chat. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. Paraglidingtalk.com.